Alrighty, guys. Good afternoon. It's January 6th, 2026. We got Tuesday today, another day of the markets. It's 2:18 p.m. I think the market is already closed Eastern time. And so let's get on with it. For those that are about to show up today, if you're new, please follow so you guys could keep update on everything I'm about to do today. This channel is dedicated for stocks. I mean, we do pretty much many things but we're gonna get to those points where when we were streaming gaming, streaming, sports and stuff like that. I mean, we're gonna definitely get there. However, right now we're concentrated in stocks, and so this stream is mostly dedicated to show people how to find stocks and everything, and so we're just showing the basics and stuff like that. So if you're new, please make sure to follow, like the video, share if you can to the social media platforms so that you know people can catch up to it. And if you know anybody that's trying to learn stocks and stuff like that, just bring them over here, and show them these streams. I mean, this is awesome because I wish I could have find something like this when I started. I had to go to the big boys and grab as much as I could, and eat, also subscribe to their package and everything like that, and kind of learn, along the way. And so that took me a little bit of time, but we're here. And so this is totally, free. I don't have no subscription packages or anything like that. Um, all I ask for is, like, share, subscribe if you're in YouTube, and if you're in Twitch, follow. If you're in Rumble, follow. All these platforms are there. And so that's pretty much I ask for you guys. So, and I appreciate you guys if you guys do. And so also on Rumble, you could repost as well, the videos as well. So I mean, there's many ways. I have on the, what do you call that? It says, thank you for the follow, TSOID. I appreciate it very much. Thank you. Welcome to the team. And so, let's start moving. Yesterday I have said that we open many platforms today. Well, yesterday was YouTube, Twitch. We were gonna do TikTok, but something is going on with TikTok. I'm gonna have to like figure out what's on the weekend, figure out what's going on with there. But we'll get that working. And so I also have, in the description, I have a list of social media platforms that I'm working on right now. And so, hopefully you guys could follow those platforms, especially the Discord, because on the Discord I have, like very very I mean, I have a lot of various amounts of information that I use to help myself learn. And so there's even books, name of books. There's, I also post there the stocks that we're about to trade, that, I mean, they're about to analyze, and also for trading as well. So um, there's going to be a lot of stuff posted there. Right now, on top of my head, I can't, figure out the words, but we have a lot of stuff there. There's, you got links of plenty of websites and everything that you guys could check right now. I mean, there's a lot of stuff on the Discord, so if you guys could, follow the Discord, I would appreciate it. And trust me, you won't regret it, because this is how we're gonna start off. And I'm here to help you guys get to that point where you guys don't need me anymore. You guys could do it automatic, and so that's where I want to take you guys, where you guys can learn enough to find the stocks, and stuff like that, and learn all the terms that you need to learn. And then once you're ready to go, kind of like the birds, you take care of them when they're little, and then once they get their feathers going and they can learn how to fly, then they fly away, and then and they don't come back. So that's where I want to get you, to the point where you don't need me anymore. And so um we'll do it little by little. And so if you guys have any questions, just uh put it on the chat or whatever, any questions, or on the comment section as well. After the stream and everything, I'll do my best to answer. Fo Dub, he said, evening gang, appreciate it, thank you so much for coming and showing support. And so let's go ahead and start off. Today we had a couple stocks in crypto that we were watching yesterday, and we had set up some of them for today. And so the first one, and so just in case if you guys are new and you don't know, this is what you're seeing right now is new. This is kind of like my, the document that I have here, where I have my criteria. You're gonna see here the criteria that I have. And this is mostly for pre-market, market open. Usually I focus on percentage change and price. Price has to be above $1 and no more than 20. Price in terms of the way the flow of the prices, in the charts and everything like that. Which is, let me show you really quick how the charts are they look like this right here. These are the charts. And so this is the flow of the price and everything, the activity. And so the green that you see here, I'm not sure if you guys can see clearly on the, let me take the document off really quick. Um, let's see if you guys can see clearly. Now you guys can see. Okay. So this right here are the Japanese candlesticks, and this is the chart, that you will use. I mean, there's many platforms that have other types of charts, and you have to set them up. Some of them you don't have to set them up. They're already set up. And so this right here, the green is for the buyers, and the red identifies as the sellers. There's different traders that put other colors, because that's their preference. And Fodub said, let me see really quick what trying to set this up really quick. Fodub said, doing good, just finished with some lunch. How's your day been? Everything been good. I just took my girl to sell her stuff, because she also has a brand, and she has a makeup brand, and we went to some of her friends and everything like that to sell her stuff. And so I just spent a little bit of time over there helping her out with some heavy stuff, because she's pregnant, so she can't lift a lot of stuff, a lot of heavy stuff. So so I was pretty much spending time over there a little bit, and so we're here right now just chilling, trying to show you guys the stocks and everything, and scan everything for today. I appreciate you interacting with me. So so let's go ahead and continue. So this right here is the candlesticks, and so like I said, this is the fluctuation. The only way you could see this on the chart, if it shows first on the tape. Here, I mean, you can't see the tape. I don't know how to find it here, because I've never used this one to trade, but you could use this platform to trade. Actually, I just gotta find it. I don't know how to. Right now, I don't want to spend too much time on doing that. I should prepare that later on for the future. But this also has a tape, and it also has you can also subscribe for the level 2 and everything, and you can see that as well. But this is one platform out of many platforms that you could use, and that's a good thing, And so what I was trying to say is, what I like to see when I said on the statement, right, on the document, that I said stock price is multi-week, multi-day, multi-month, multi-year. What I mean by that, right? So right here on the chart, when you go on the daily, let's fix this chart really quick. Um, okay, so when you go to the daily, you're gonna see the overall trend of the chart, right? When you go on the daily, and these right here are time frames, different time frames. You could have 10-second time frame, 20-second, a minute, 5 minute. I mean, everything is your preference at the end of the day. Some platforms are limited. They won't show you more than 1 minute, or no less than 1 minute, or no more than a couple hours or whatever. I mean, there's different platforms that have different limitations. This one, at least you can set them up as whatever you like, and so whatever's your preference. And so this is the overall trend. And so what I mean when I said, oh, I'd like to see a multi-day or multi-month or multi-year, what I mean to say is, let's say, let's try to find a candle right here. So let's see this green, well, not this one. Let me look at a better one here. Let me check. Okay, let's say it's this one right here. This was let's say it was this candle right here on the right side was the day that was today, actually. And I scanned the stock and I'm checking it, right? This is a crypto, by the way, but this is almost the same. The charting is almost the same. And so let's say it opened. Let's look at this one better because it's more clear. It opened right around these candles right here, and it closed above these other candles, right, way above. And you see this space here. This is already a breakout, because it passed the point where the resistance of the price, which was resisting. It didn't went this previous candle, it didn't went no more. The price didn't went no more because sellers were holding the price down. And so that right there, it closed, pretty much medium. It didn't go very high, it didn't went too low. It was just mid. And so this right here, as you can see, it broke out, and it went way above probably like a week, almost 2 weeks. So this is like a 2 week breakout. Not significant as a monthly. Some stocks would would s- would open way high than normal, and they will continue to go higher. And those are like multiple months right here, breakout. Some of them are all time highs. I mean, they could even go as high as all time, like, you know, the overall trend, where it started, you know. And so those are like the best ones, because, they're very significant. People who've been trading for a long time, those are the ones that they love watching. And so there's always a reason why the stock is moving for the day. And so the one that we were talking about, right? Right now. And so before we go to the stocks, so this is the criteria, right? And so that's how you see the multi-month, multi-year breakouts, and or multi-day, multi-week. That's how you identify it, and so, you also want to know what if it has news, if the stock has news or not. That that's you definitely want to make a decision whether you want to continue to see the stock or not. Everything at the end of the day is your personal preference. Now, this is my criteria. The stock, I mean, the reason why it's moving, it could be either the news or somebody's hyping it on the social media. Somebody's doing something that it's provoking this price to go up. And so the basic thing that you should learn is the supply and demand. And so that's kind of like very, very basic. Once you learn supply and demand, everything else, it makes sense, in especially in the market. And so, talking about supply and demand, right here I said, what's the float, right, on that criteria. The float is the supply, you know, and my personal preference is under 10 million. Supply is kind of like, you're the business owner, right? And you have a shoe store, right? and let's say you have 10 pairs of shoes to sell because you're just starting, you don't have a big factory or whatever, and you have 10 pairs of shoes. However, you open up that business and now you have, you know like 20 people in line trying to buy those 10 pairs of shoes. Guess what? There's 20 people. 10 shoes can only be bought by 10 people, not 20. So how can you make a profit in order to make more shoes and meet those needs of the 20 people, the total of the 20 people? Oh, well, the rest, which is the 10 people that that it doesn't have the shoes. So uh you have to upper the price, in order to meet to get the shoes sold. I don't know if this is a good analogy, but I hope it I hope you guys understand what I'm saying when it comes to supply and demand. And so if there's more demand for the product, right, which is if it's low, if you don't have a lot of product, then you have to up the price, because the company, if you want to keep the company alive, you have to, you know, make profit, sell everything that you have, all your product, and then use that money and reinvest it into making more product, doubling the amount of product. And that's how you keep growing little by little. It doesn't matter if it's shoes, shirts, or whatever it is, in different whatever company that you're starting up. But that's business. And so in business, if you don't know this basic thing of supply and demand, then you're not going to have a good business, especially if you want to start off in the business field or the stocks or whatever it is that has to do with business. And so the flow is the supply, right? And so I also say volume. Volume is quote unquote the demand of the stock. If there's a lot of demand, if there's a lot of activity trading, then it's so in the markets, it's so easy to get in, get out. You don't have to worry about getting stuck on a trade. And then you're like, oh man, nobody want to buy my shares. I'm trying to sell these shares so I could get a profit, but nobody's trying to buy it. There's no activity, in the stock. And so those are pretty dangerous, because, when you deal with a stock that's under under a million shares traded, then, that's not a lot of activity, especially stocks that are like way under like 10,000, 5,000. I mean, there's zero activity in the market. You might have might have luck to get in the stock, right? But to sell it, I mean, nobody's interested in the stock, nobody's watching it, so you might have trouble trying to sell it for a profit. And so that's where the reason why I like checking only stocks that are the volume, it has to be over a million, because it's so easy to get in, get out, especially the big ones, the Walmart, the Home Depots, the Amazons. I mean, eh, all these big companies, they're trading millions and millions of shares every single day, and you could get in and get out and nobody even noticed that you got in or got out. That's how much activity those stocks have. Now, these stocks don't have the magnitude of money that the bigger ones have, but they move. They're very volatile, and the market value of the company are very low, and that gives you an opportunity to take advantage of the stock, because those companies could go up very very fast. It is easy, and I have said this many times, it is easy for the stock to go from 1 million market value, right? The value of the total value of the company, could be worth 1 million, right? And it's not hard in the market, especially in the market, it's not hard for it to go to 10 million. It could take a couple minutes, it could take a couple hours, or it could take a day or two, but it if it has the certain amount of news, the certain amount of activity, the float as well, which helps scan these correctly and everything. And if it has a certain type of criteria, then it can have an opportunity if it's moving. And so These move very fast. It's way more harder for a $1 billion company to become 10 billion than a million to become 10 million. And so I have said this many times, but for this is pretty much for those who are new that don't know yet what I'm saying and stuff like that. And so you gotta get yourself involved in this. Uh if you're if you don't know what I'm saying right now, just take a piece of paper, write things down, and little by little search on Google, search up, ask Chat GPT. There's plenty of people on YouTube that would explain these type of terms. Um, but if you guys have any questions, you just shoot the ball. And um, so the volume is pretty much the demand of the stock. The more demand there more demand there is, and the less supply, the better it is, because the price is it has opportunity to increase. If there's some type of good news that may attract buyers to keep buying massively to bump up the price. And so that's pretty much it. And so also another criteria would be to check the overall trend of the stock. If you're looking at the chart, this is the overall trend. If it's going down trending, this is a downtrend. Like a diagonal, looking down. So this is not a good trend. An uptrend is a good trend, like the SPY. Let's check the SPY really quick, which is the S&P 500, right? And this is S&P 500. It has the way it says 500. It has the pretty much the best 500 companies in the world, all in one stock. And this stock is a ETF. And so there's many ways to understand what's an ETF and everything like that. Right now, I'm not gonna explain it, but I just want to show you guys the trends. What is a trend? And so this is a uptrend. We call this a uptrend. The other, what I just showed you before, is a downtrend. And so these are uptrend. This is a healthy stock. And you might see stocks that are going down, right? That this is a pullback right here when it does these little turnarounds here. This is referred to a pullback. And it had these a couple times. you know but these are, these don't come around all the time. This is a big pullback right here, because it had a little one right here, and then it tried to bounce again, but it dipped more. And so this time right here, it was pretty massive. There's been other times where it pulled back more massive like that too. But when these times happen like this, where it's pulling, when the S&P 500 is pulling back like that, it's a great opportunity to trade the smaller stocks, because those make big moves when the overall market is in distress. And so that's a new tip to let you guys know. Um, so you guys could know exactly what I'm saying. And look it up. Look it up. It's not only me saying it. There's plenty of people that have tested, have seen it. Have trade in those times. Especially in the pandemic and all that stuff. Those times, there was a lot of trading going on. And people were getting to notice what stocks are and everything like that. And so do your due diligence, and do your research about these like trend lines and everything like that. This is a fluctuation of the stock. And so this is a healthy uptrend. And so also you have some other stocks that are just stagnant, and those are consolidation periods. And those stocks that are like that in consolidation, especially for multiple years, those are more considered like seasonal. You have probably a year where it's every day going down. It's going down, and then on the next day it's going up. A whole entire year is just going up. So you have those type of seasons. But for the stocks that I'm about to show you, you don't have to worry about multiple weeks, multiple months, multiple years. These are more for day trading. the only study that you could, the only analysis is for 1 day, 2 days, and to go really far, maybe a week, but not much, not more than that. I would only trade first green days, which I like very much, which are these right here. Like, this is a first green day right here. This could be considered first green day, but it didn't have much activity. This is a second green day right here. After that, I don't trade more than that, because then it could have these type of dips right here. I don't know if there's another good example of that. Like right here, you see first green day, second green day, and then you have a dip here. If you would have bought here, and let's say you took a couple days off, and um, you would have won a little bit of profit. But if you would have got back in, and you would have saw this drop right here or somewhere. Well, this one is a healthy stock. I mean, you're not gonna see some massive drops. Only like in the pandemic, when the pandemic happened and everything like that, or the other ones. But the like regular stocks, the ones that I'm showing you, they are more like the overall stocks that we watch. Normally, they're not good. They're not healthy overall, but they're good to trade only, like, for that specific time. Is if the news is right and everything like that, that's the only time that you could like take advantage of those. And so, I'm not gonna spend too much time on this, explaining a little bit more about this. I just want to like jump into the stocks that we're studying. But I just show you like a little bit of the example of how I look at my criteria and everything. And the last one I said, it has to have some type of history of running. And what I mean by that, it has to have some, days that, it could have gone up for a couple days. It could have gone up for a couple months or a couple years. Everything depends on, the seasons, just like I said. But in the stocks that we watch, it might have overall bad trend. However, it does have its moments where it did run a couple days or something, or spiked up a day or two or something like that. So those are a history of running. And so that's kind of what we want to see. We don't want to see just a dead stock that hasn't done nothing. So at least something is good, to qualify that. And so this is normally for pre-market and market open. This is almost the same criteria. The only thing we took out was the percentage change. That's what's the only thing that we took out. And I added here a new thing here, because when you're filtering the stocks, you wanna make sure that the market cap is way below, is at the area that you want, your preference. My preference is under 300 million market value. And they call it the market cap. Market capitalization. That's the entire definition, the word. And so let's go ahead. This right here is for the crypto later. We're gonna explain that here on Twitter. To search for the stock, you put a dollar sign, and next to it you put a ticker symbol, and you can search for it. It is gonna show you a list of what's going on with that stock today, if there's any type of news for the stock. However, if you want to be more specific, you could put the until and the two dots right here, and then you put the date, the year, the month, and the date, and then since, and you could put the past date, which is the year, the month, and a couple days before, like a more older date, and so right there, when you input that, it should only show you the dates that you want to focus on, of that stock. And so that's kind of like a little tip that you guys probably didn't know. So, or probably you guys know, but it's just something extra. And so the first stock right here that we're gonna check is BNAI, right? BNAI. And so right here, and I just want to make sure that you guys are seeing what I'm seeing. Let's take the document off so you guys can see clearly what I'm watching. And so So BNAI right here, we see overall it does have some history of running, and we saw that we had said here in the document, good price, good volume, low flow. It had a recent contract news. That's why it ran for multiple days here, which I've noticed here. The last thing I said was it's still in consolidation period. No low volume, which was yesterday. But we'll keep a watch. Would want to see some type of volume or extra news that might attract more buyers to try to test those highs of 425. And so we'll take a look at it right now on the 5 minute. It's a little extended. It's been going, for a couple days, almost a week. So, this is the strongest resistance line right here, 847. But today it looked like it did test the high of day and broke it awesomely. Very, very good. Very good day. Beautiful. And so yesterday it had a down day with less volume, but today look, it picked it up. It picked up the volume, and it was 16 million volume it had, and so guess what happened pre-market? It broke those levels right here. If you would have watched it, you would have got in at the confirmation breakout right here. You would have got in a candle after that confirmation. Let's do that markup here, and you would have got in right here in the next candle. And this candle only is 6%, which is great, and it went up all the way to 11%, which is good. Overall today, it consolidated most of the time. It almost gave back all of its gains for today, but it regained back those gains and it consolidated above the VWAP, so which is good news. And so we might see this thing run a little bit more. I won't continue to trade it. This would be a good day to kind of like take advantage. But it still have life, to keep on going. Had a good move there overall today. Let's see how much it went. It went 31%, which is excellent. 31%. I mean, you don't have to trade stocks that go only 80%. I mean, you would have loved to take the whole move, but you only need a little bit of every stock that can move this way. You only need a little bit. As long as you get a little bit and you get it consistently, these profits, you shouldn't have no issues. I'll probably concentrate. I don't know today, if I finish a little early today, then I'll probably teach you guys something extra. But if I don't, then tomorrow I'll probably will be the first thing that I'm gonna show you guys on how to like structure a plan before you start trading, of how much money you know I'm not gonna tell you guys how much money you should trade, because that's already financial advice. I'm just gonna show you guys the average salary that people have here in the United States, and what do you need normally to pay your bills, and kind of structure a plan to whatever money that you're trading with, you could like kind of like meet those points where you could like replace your job or something like that. It's something I'm gonna come up with. But I might do it today or tomorrow. Depends. Depends if I finish a little bit faster today. And so I'm gonna go a little bit faster right now because I have a little bit to show you guys. But this one had a pretty good move. We won't, I won't continue to move. To keep pursuing this one. Um, since it break out this line right here, there's nothing else stopping it. There's zero stopping it. The only thing that's stopping it is this guy right here. There might be pending sell orders here stacked up. I don't know how big, and it will only be you will only see it in level 3. You won't see it in level 2. You can only see very, very short time for the level 2, of sellers, or buyers, stacked up. But you cannot see it way clearly. Only in the level 3 and the level 4 you could see it. You could definitely see exactly where the sellers are and where the buyers are stacked up, so that you could go ahead and make a decision to either sell or buy the stock, before they go ahead and execute those pending orders. And so that's pretty much it with this one. It now that it broke out these levels, it has a possibility to test these highs. We don't know the magnitude of sellers here that are about to sell, pretty much hold the price down. So it will be a good thing to watch. But we'll keep it on. We keep this one still on list only to watch. Good move today. Let's put the date today as well. Let's update that. So today is the 6th. And this month is flying. It's flying fast. You know. So let's put the date. 26. Great move. A breakout high of high price, high resistance of 425. Only will analyze, not to risk trade. And so we're done with that one. LVRO or LYRO. Let's see which one it was. LVRO. Okay. So we got that one. LVRO. And so this LVRO, today it had a lot of activity. It kind of finished in the middle right there. So we'll look at the 5-minute and see how it went. Yeah, no activity here. It is consolidating a little bit around a little bit above the half of its yesterday's half of its gains. So we'll see. We'll see if it's if it if tomorrow volume picks up, which is right now it doesn't have anything right now. Yeah, this one is getting out of the list because I'm not gonna trade something that's inactive like this. It's already 2 days like this. Yeah, no, I'm this one is getting out of the list. It's a good trend, and it has opportunity. However, the volume has to pick up, and there's got to be some type of news. We're not seeing that right now. The float is good too, but we can't be all day looking at this stock. I mean, if we would have been all day looking at this stock and it did nothing, then you just wasted a whole day watching this stock. That's why you have to look at multiple ones, but not trade all of them. Just to analyze what fits your criteria for that specific date. Unless you're preparing for the next day like we're doing right now. This right here is not a good formula to prepare for the next day. Tomorrow we don't know what this stock is gonna do. If people are gonna watch this stock, and so those are good things to check. We want to have a healthy, strong stock for that specific time. And so just like this right here, it looked pretty healthy. However, it closed almost half of its gains. It gave back half of its gains and it closed weak. And the distance between that price and the VWAP is extended. So not good to see, But it did bounce and recoup those gains, but today no activity, and so we don't want to see that, And so where there's no activity, no trade. So this one is getting off the list. And so let's take this one off, this thing. And so let's check VRME, which was the ones that we set up yesterday for today. VRME. And so VRME failed to break out these levels right here and test these highs. I mean, it's too far out, and so it's consolidating a little bit above the half of its gains that it did yesterday. So is in those levels. I'm not sure if it's gonna break out here, these levels. Had no activity at all here. The volume is still, well, it's 6 million. It's a little bit below the average, which we don't want to see that. We want to see at least double the average, or more. But in this case, nothing. This one, I'm gonna take this one off as well. I'm not gonna spend time watching this one. So this one is out of the list. JCSE, we had said good volume, low flow, had dividend news. Price is good, history of running. The plan will be to wait for price to hold these levels and test higher day at 213 and breakout levels at 207 and 239, which is the strongest. And so let's check that one, JCSE. JCSE. And so it did break out, had an excellent breakout. However, the activity of the stock, not great, very low volume. You would have still got in, and barely got out of it. All day it traded 1 million, that whole entire day, 1 million. That's very low, but you could have probably still traded, but you would have had a hard time getting out of the stock. But it did spiked up pretty good. It went up. Let's see how much percentage it went up. 44%. So that's pretty good. Very good for a stock. And so it did break out these levels, 207, 213, and the next level to break out was 239, but it failed to break out those levels. Tomorrow, if people are interested in it and the volume picks up with some type of extra news, then it might test these highs here, as it attracts more buyers to push these price up. But since it's extended, the price is extended already. Comparing to the VWAP, where the VWAP is located, this might have to have, we have to see some type of pullback, maybe a shorter one to test these support levels, and maybe make another bounce, about to test these highs. So that's kind of what we would want to see, a pullback, bounce, and test more higher levels. Sorry. And so, that's kind of what we want to see, but the activity here, no good. But it's at the 1 million volume, so we'll keep it a watch. We'll keep watching. We'll analyze this one, not for trade as well. The reason why I took the other one, there's zero activity. The volume is very low. I mean, there's the way the pattern looks like, the way the pattern looks of the trend, it looks perfect, but it looks like it was consolidating, and it has an opportunity to probably test highs, but if it's not attracting buyers or sellers, if none of them are there, then the price is just gonna stay there stagnant, and I don't want to be stuck in a stock, and so this one would have to pick up tomorrow volume. If it doesn't pick up volume, no trade. I would want my key is for me to have enough volume for me to get in, get out very fast. And if the flow of the price is doing exactly what I'm planning, then what the best thing to do is capitalize on that. And pretty much know your exits and your entries and your exits, and have a strategy to, if the price doesn't go your way, to cut very fast. Cut, take the loss like a champ, and go on to the next one. And so um I have said that yesterday, like, you could lose plenty of times, you could lose multiple times, but if your losses are very small in comparison to your wins, which is, if your wins are very, very high and you have less, let's say you have less wins than losses, but those wins are very high, then that's, you want to stick to that plan. It doesn't matter if how many times you lost, but if those losses are small, you shouldn't worry about it. You're going to recoup those eventually, especially if you have a plan and you have a strategy, just like I said, and you know what you're doing, then you shouldn't have no issues. But in this case, it's extended, it has to pull back, and we'll see that happen tomorrow, most likely. So this one we'll only have it in the list just to analyze. So let's put the date, break out the levels of resistance. Tomorrow has to pull back and or and after it does bounce, if it bounces off support, then another test of resistance at what is a 239. So that's pretty much for that one. Let's go on to the next one. UFG. Sorry. So UFG. Sorry. So like I said, let me drink some water because I'm dying here. Too much talking, so I gotta take care of myself. So this is the example of what I was just saying in the previous stock that we just looked at. What happened to the previous stock? It closed the day, extended to the VWAP. What happened the next day? Boom, it came back crashing down. It pulled back because it's too extended to the VWAP line. It doesn't have to be too close to the VWAP, but it has to have some type of space, and it has to bounce it off of it. If the VWAP is acting as a support, unless there's some type of support already made in those areas there. And so just like right here, like the pre-market, these highs right here, let me mark the horizontal. So this was a confirmation pullback, and so this is the highest point at this level of pre-market, and so I would have put a resistance line there, and so price would have to break out convincingly in order for me to get in. This would have been a small loss, but if you would have got in here at this next breakout, confirmation breakout, you would have got a little bit of profit here as well. But this once it got broken right here convincingly, this line right here, resistance, became support. And so once the price tested these highs and bounced off, it has to pull back, and so when it pulled back, guess what happened? It bounced off these levels right here. It was not perfect bounce, but it did bounce. And so once it bounced off, now it has to either test these highs or test these VWAP levels right here. And so if it doesn't appear strong on pre-market tomorrow or market open with volume, then this thing might crash down again and most likely break down these levels. But this is no play for tomorrow. It's it's gonna take a little time. The volume 3 million We'll use that other one as an example. This one is no play. It gave back half of its gains. However, it did close a little bit above half, of this yesterday move. Not sure if it's gonna reach tomorrow the highs. That's a long way for this stock. So we'll see. We'll see what's gonna happen. UFG, if it shows up on the scanner tomorrow, then it will be, I mean, it's above BWAP and it has some type of news, and there's activity and volume and everything, then I'll be interested. But in this case, no. And so it's getting off the list. We'll only have JSE as just as analysis to see if it does exactly what UFG did, and so that's kind of our plan, for tomorrow for that type of stock. But this is no trade, just to analyze. And so let's go ahead and get our list today. I don't know what's wrong with me.
You're crazy.
And so and so 3:09 p.m. 3:09 p.m. And so my wife. And so let's go ahead and do a list really quick. And so also, guys, whoever's watching, don't forget to hit the like, the share, and follow me if you're new. I appreciate you guys being here and spending a little bit of time with me here. Any questions, just hit the chat or comment. Comment the stream after I finish here, or whenever you want to. But let's go ahead and go to the screener. So this is the web that I use, Finviz. So if you're new here, Finviz is a free platform where you could scan the stocks, for today, and like the free version, it only shows you just a delayed scanning of the stocks. If you want to get the live feed of it, you have to pay a subscription. But in this case, I'm just showing you just very basic how to screen the stocks, how to find them. And so you press here, screener, and this tab right here, and then you're gonna find these this page right here. And so there's plenty. I mean, you got 540 pages of stocks in the market. You have about 20,000 stocks trading, and that's above. That's only the ones that are what do you call that? Eligible for in the market. That are above the $1 level. There's some that are below the $1, like this one, the 80 cents. But most likely they have gotten a notification from NASDAQ to pick up their price. If they don't pick up their price at a certain point, at a certain time, then that stock is going to get delisted off the market, and it might go to like a OTC market, or it may go to the pink sheet and stuff like that. I mean, there's other markets as well, but for these type of stocks, and if it's not active, then the company might go out of business. So that's what happens when you're not active. And so, or the company is not having a good year, or period overall is not great, not great company. But in this case, these are the what you filter on. And so I like to check everything. This is just a very short description of what to filter here, just very short. So if you click all right here, you can see a long list of different types of things in the stocks that you could check on, filter. And so I like to start off with market cap, which is the market capitalization, like I said before, which is the total market value of the company, outstanding shares, It is what the company's worth, the total value. And so me, I like to focus on the 300 million. And on that same column, if you go down, you can see here price. And so just like I said on my criteria says, oh, let me go ahead and take the document off so it won't be on your way. And right here, the criteria will say, okay, let's see if you guys can see it. Okay, yeah, you guys can see it clearly. So on the price, I want to only see stocks that are $1 to $20 right there. And then if you hover over to the third column right here, a little bit down, you're gonna see the relative volume. And so the relative volume is the ratio current volume compared to 3-month average adjusted intraday. So what that mean? So you got the current volume, right? In this case, the market is closed, so the volume is going to show you a certain volume that it completed the stock for that current day, right? That it traded the total volume, so that you take that current volume, and there's a calculation that you do with the average volume over a period of a month, 2 months, in this case it's only showing 3 months. And so that calculation between those two, it will give you these numbers right here. And so my criteria, you know the average will be over 3, but me, I like over 5. you know the relative volume has to be over 5. And so that right there is one way. And so the next column right here is industry. I like to check stocks. And then a little bit, if you hover down, right, you got the performance. And so I want to see only stocks that are running, which is today up, that's what it says. And so the current volume, which is the demand, in other words, here it gives you it says number of shares traded today, which is the demand of the stock. And so I want to see over 1 million. And then on the next column, I mean, you got plenty of things here to pick, but me, I like to see the supply, which is the flow. And the flow has to be under 10 million. And so this is pretty much my criteria. Very simple, not too hard to learn. We've been doing this for 20 episodes already. And I repeat myself for every episode, and it's because I'm doing it on purpose so that you guys could really get it, and eventually you guys could learn this enough so that you guys don't depend on me anymore. You guys could do it, by yourself, and make some money, or whatever you guys want to do. At the end of the day, it you know that's why I have on my description, I have a disclaimer, because this is not financial advice. This is only for educational purposes. So you know uh, do your due diligence, and so be smart. Be smart with your money, because at the end of the day, it's your heart. You earn that money. And it'll be unfortunate to lose it if you don't know what you're doing. So that's kind of what I could tell you about it. But right here, you see here on this list, these names of the company. I don't care about none of this. It's the sector that is in. Now, people trade on hot sectors, based on what sector, what type of season is it, or what type of era we're in. If it's if the, let's say, weed is the hot sector, which is, we call it not weed, well, we call it the weed stocks, but there's another name for that, cannabis. So cannabis, there was an era right now it's still hot, but not too hyped up like it was a couple years ago. you know and so when that happens, you got these little small companies that want to, like, develop and get bigger. and so they're a factory of cannabis. And so, you know, when the when you go trying to find hot sector stocks for that specific type of sector, then you focus on the sectors, but that's a different way to trading. I like to keep it very simple. I don't want to see the sector. I don't want to see the industry. I don't care about the country that the company comes from. All I want to see is the ticker symbol. I want to see the price. If the market is open or pre-market, I only want to see the percentage change, the volume, and the relative volume. That's it. And the float. Those are the only ones I want to see. And so the way you take this off, right, on this web, is you go to custom, and then I normally take the numbers off, right? I take the company name, the sector, the industry, the country, the market cap, and the P ratio. And so I like to put the relative value and the shares float. That's it. This is what I like putting, and that's how you're gonna find the list of stocks for that ran pretty good today. And some of them that didn't make this list, some of them made most likely made good moves on pre-market or market open, but they didn't qualify entirely the list because they didn't ran like these ran. Now that I'm looking at the volume, the majority of these stocks today are very low volume. So we might probably list one or two depending on what I'm watching here of the volume. So that's how you filter out everything. On my list right here, that's the criteria. Also, some of it is the criteria. And so if you learn these things, you shouldn't have issues finding these stocks and trading them. Now the trading part, you have over time you have to figure out what works for you. If it works trading in the morning or the afternoon, whether you like trading breakouts or you like trading shorting, which is your long is more buying low, selling high. Those are what you call it a long. Now a short is when you're borrowing shares of a broker, right? The broker gives you the shares, and what you do is you buy out. You cover shares. You cover when you're trading in the market, and somebody will buy off those shares for you. And so the difference between what you borrowed and what you bought of the amount of shares, then that difference, that's your commission pretty much. That's what you make, what you get back. And so shorting is a little bit more risky because if the price is not going your way, let's say you're shorting and the price is going the opposite way, is going up, the the amount that you can lose is unlimited, unfortunately. That's why some companies, like trading software companies, they have limitations, and so they will give you they will close the trade for you if you go a certain limit where you know for sure that you're losing all your money in your account plus more. And if you're losing more, then you most likely gonna owe the broker. you know and so that's why it's dangerous to trade shorting. You have to know exactly what you're doing if you're shorting. And so, you know, but me, I don't short. I long most of the time. I like buying low, selling high. And so I like breakouts, and that's my preference. Many of you guys would have to learn multiple ways to find what is good, what fits for you. If it's bounces off support levels or breakouts, or whatever you're learning at that point. But here, as you can see on the list, that's pretty much what we filter out for today. Let's see. Okay, and there we go. And so now you got the list here, and Next thing to do after this, now that you see it clean here, also let me go back to the filters. We want to take off, wait a minute, the custom here, not the filter. Okay, there we go. So we want to take off the percentage change because the market is closed. We no longer want to focus on the percentage change, especially when the market is closed. And so what we're gonna do is sort out from high to lowest on the volume. And as you can see right here, these are the biggest stocks for today that ran today. All these are really small volume. Most likely, all of these are probably not gonna fit what we're looking for. But we'll check them all and see how it went. I won't take too long checking these because I'm already like a couple hours in, I think. Not sure. Let's see. Oh, sorry about that. About an hour and 5 minutes. So I won't spend too much time on these little small stocks, but let's keep on going. So I got CYCN. Let's check that one really quick. CYCN. And so CYCN had a breakout. I don't know why. I think we did it marked okay, so CYCN. So it did yesterday. I don't know why it didn't show on my scanner. Probably because it didn't have much volume, but it had a pretty good move after hours. So this right here would have been uh, a resistance line right here. And so it had a pretty decent move. Now it did zigzag a little bit too much. It didn't break out convincingly. Only this point right here, but it then failed to keep moving. This one wouldn't be too much of a good trade. Too extended, at this point is too way more extended compared to where the VWAP is. So that would have been dangerous to trade. So this stock, it still it went way below the VWAP line here, break those lows right here, and it tried to consolidate, and it recovered pretty good at the close. However, it just kept going down. Right now is that it's too extended right here to the VWAP and the resistance level. So it didn't break out convincingly like we would want to see it. So this is a failure. And why did it ran? Let's check if it has some type of news. Cyclerion Therapeutics signed collaboration and option agreement with Metzger. Okay, so it's a contract. It's a contract news, which is good. Now this right here, you don't want to see this on the charts. This type of extension here. You know, some people might get attracted to see, maybe they see it at a good price now and they might buy off on pre-market, market open. Everything depends. If it gets above the VWAP again and breaks out the resistance level, it could test these highs right here, these pre-market highs at 235. That will be the resistance level that it has to break. The daily chart, not great. It does have some history of running and stuff like that. But, as you can see, it had a gap up. It was a multi-week breakout, but it failed miserably, and, it couldn't hold, look at the resistance level over multiple years of resistance is a very strong resistance. So we don't know. I don't believe this stock, anything can happen at the end of the day, but I won't keep a watch. If it would have hold these levels here all the way to the next day, then I would be interesting to watch if it's gonna break out those levels and test these highs. But it's not showing me that. So this one is not gonna get in the list. So let's go on to the next one, AZI. So let's check AZI really quick. AZI. Beautiful. Beautiful move. So this is, pretty good waves here. Mostly was above a VWAP this whole day. So that's good to see. And we had looked at this one a couple weeks ago, I guess. Right here we had marked it. So it had a forefront move already. This is probably the back end of it. It failed again to break out these levels of 435. So let me see if you guys can see it, because yeah, you guys can see it clearly. So it failed, but it did had an interesting move today. Look, right here, if it would have showed on my scanner in the morning, then I would be interested to trade it. Like this, I would trade this type of stock. Let's see what we had. It didn't have no recent news. Let me see if I could see some type of news showing up here on this site. Today it says Autozi in China auto maintenance parts allegiance parts. Wait a minute. Maintenance parts alliance forged strategic partnership. So it's a partnership move news. Okay, so it's good. So that's a contract, Hernandez. Oh, ¿qué pasó? Espero que estés bien. I was in your chat. I was trying to moderate, but then my wife is like, "Oh, we got to go to this to sell my stuff," and she has her brand that she's selling products and stuff like that, and so I had to go with her really quick. I couldn't moderate completely your channel. It says, make sure you all fam hit that like, repost, and follow. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yes, yes. Hit the like, follow all the everything. I have everything on my description. Like all the I have Discord. I mean everything is in there. Everything that I have open, it's all in there. Just hit the follow, share to those social media platforms and everything. I would appreciate you guys doing that for me. And not to say it's okay, bro. Not a big deal. Thank you. I appreciate. I think once I'm done with the stream, if you're still streaming, I'll give you some support over there and everything. And so let's go ahead and move on. So we have this partnership news about this stock. That's why it's moving this way. And so there's probably a lot of hype on this stock. But as you can see, it failed. It failed to break these levels. So I'm not sure if it's gonna continue to do that. To run, especially with the extension that it has here in comparison to where the VWAP line is. So we'll see. It looks like it's about to test again these highs again. We don't know if it's gonna break out today. But it will be interesting to watch on pre-market. So this one we'll have it on pre-market. It didn't give back all of its gains. It gave up just a little bit, but it's still holding above VWAP. Little bit too extended comparison to the VWAP, but we'll look at it. We'll analyze it tomorrow when we do the stream again. And so let's put AZI as the first stock of today. And so price is at right now at 398. So it's a good price. Good price. Had news. Partnership news. Volume, let's see, volume 54 million. Good volume. And float, let's check the float. Low float is at 1 million. So low float. We had checked the daily, which was bad, but it does have some history of running here. You had a couple weeks here that it ran pretty good. It has some little bit of it had, I think, one. I'm not sure how many splits it had, which is not good, but Reverse stock splits are somewhat good in terms of looking at some big moves, but you got to understand a little bit more. But I'm not focused on that right now. So it had history of running. Plan would be to test high of yesterday, or wait a minute, that's today. That was today that it went as today. So we're gonna write high of day at 4, and it's not 4:35. It's at this. I hope it grabs the 4:53 to be exact. Hernandez says, "Okay, bro. Okay, appreciate it. Gracias." And so yeah, in this stream we speak English, Spanish. Mostly if you only speak Spanish, you could talk to me. Me puedes hablar como tú quieras. I speak both languages, como tú quieras. And so right here, the real resistance level is this high right here. And so those are the levels that price has to, break. The strongest one is 480, but it needs to test these first. This higher day today at 453. So at 453 and eventually at 480. And so that's pretty much it for that one. And so the next one is MRNO. I have heard this one a long time ago too. MRNO. And so it did have some activity a little right here in the open, not much as the midday. If it were to show up on my scanners, the only way I would mark here would be this point right here. This point. Because that was a confirmation pullback right here. And the breakout would have been right here, and you would have got in and took a little profit here. It went up to 11%. So you would have took a little bit of profit, So that would have been a good point there. Some people would have caught it on the bounce and got out here to take a pretty nice profit here at this resistance level. Caught it at the bounce and take your gains right here. Or they would have, depending their tolerance, they would have took profits up here somewhere. If they're watching the level 2 or level 3, depending what they watching. So but in this case, it gave back half of its gains and it's below the VWAP. Not too extended. It's still close to the VWAP, but we'll see what the news is. Doesn't have no recent news. Let's check the other the Finviz site here. MRNO. Let's see. No recent news. Maybe it's getting hyped up on social media. But if that's very important criteria to know, and it's not showing here on the site. So the company itself haven't released anything that we should know. And so let's check the 5. So this the 5. So right here, very doubtful to know if it's gonna get above the VWAP and test these resistance levels right here. Not this one, but this top one right here. That's the main one that it got to, and it's right now at the price that it's at right now. It's too extended to this line right here, so it's very hard for it to get up there. Well, it's not too hard, unless volume picks up, and the volume was pretty good today, 22 million. Now, Float is 1 million. It's very low float, which is good. And it's several times its average volume, which is great too. And if it keeps up like that and people are interested in buying it at this price, then it might test these highs here. So let's keep this one on watch too. MRNO. I'm curious to see the results tomorrow. So good price, low float, good volume, no news at this moment. Let's check the daily. So the daily not great, but it has these little these little moves right here, which counts as a history of running. The next resistance line for this one, for this daily, would be right there, which is a little bit higher than what the price level is at right now. But the one that it got to break first is 136. So it's a fourth green day, which I don't like to see. I believe is extended right now. So we'll have to see what it's gonna do tomorrow. But in this case, nothing right now. So it does have some history of running, which we're gonna write. History of running. Only to analyze. Has to reclaim VWAP and test high of day at 136. And so that's pretty much with this one. And so all these stocks too, like the stocks, the crypto, all that, I'm gonna post it on the Discord, so you guys won't lose it. In case you guys don't want to, check the stream and go back, you guys could check it on the Discord and get that information there too. So that's a good thing about the Discord. And so we got those two. Let's check another one. Let's see. MNTS. MNTS. And so MNTS had a pretty good move today. It's a back end of this move. The first move was this one right here, I guess. Let's see. I don't want to confuse myself. It's been running it has some seasons, but this one's the most significant one to was yesterday, and today it's doing it again. It tried to test these highs, but it failed. So I guess the distance between this and up here is where the sellers are pushing, are holding the price down. And it will be good to watch the level 3. I don't know if I could find a photo of what the level 3 looks like, just in case if you guys are curious to know. Let's see. No, I don't have it here. That's unfortunate. Yeah, I don't have one of those level 2 chart photos here. Normally I like to save a couple of them just to, for future reference, but I'll try to find one somewhere and give you give you guys some example. But today, I won't do it today. I don't want to waste too much time doing that, but I'll do it tomorrow. Well, I'll do it today when I get off the stream, and I'll save it for tomorrow. Tomorrow I'll do some extra stuff too. Because we're gonna explain also the crypto today, so I don't think I'm gonna have enough time to get in the subject to teach you guys extra what I just mentioned this the beginning of the stream. But in this case, it had a pretty decent move right here. If it would have show up on the charts on the scanner with good volume and it shows here 8 million volume, but if it was over a million in the morning, and if it somehow this is old news, which was part of this little move right here. The reason why you see this right here, it said here, momentous sign a First Amendment to Equity Purchase Agreement. So it's a contract news right here. You know, it's an agreement. So this is the back end of the move. You know, so if able to show on the scanners with good volume and everything, and the float is, which is good too, then the next thing to check here was the wait for after this move right here, wait for a confirmation pullback, which is these candles right here together, these red candles, which we want to see, and mark at the highest level of all those behind it. You know, it could have been any of these this point right here of pre-market and market open, and the highest one for comparing all this time right here was these points right here. And so I marked that as a resistance level. And today, it had a confirmation breakout right there. You could have made some profit right here too, and went up all the way up to 11%, which is great. You on your eyes, it might not look much, but if you consistently making 5-10% every day, and you calculate that, let's do that right now, really quick. Google calculator. Just a regular calculator. That's what I need. So let's say, right, you're making, I'm just going to make it easy for you guys, 5% every day, right? Times 5 days a week, which you could trade on the market. I don't know if you guys could, let me see if you guys could see this clearly. Yes, let me take the documents off. There you go. Now you guys can see clearly. Let's do this really quick. So let's say you're making 5%, right, every day for 5 days a week, right? Did I wrote that? Wait a minute. Let me do it again. So 5.5%. Oh my God. Math. 5%. There you go. 0.05 times 5 days a week. That gives me 25. 25% acquired out of all that week, right? If you would have made 5%. Then let's say you did that over a 4-week span, which is a month. That puts you at 1, and then times 12, which is 12, so you would have got there 12%, over, well, not 12%. Oh my God, 1200%, I think it is, or 120 if I'm not mistaken. I'm tripping. Times 360 is 120 days actually for the market. For a complete market is 120 days that you're trading, times 120 days to be exact. That's 60, I think it is 60% for the year. 60. It's not 600. I don't think it's 600. I think it's 60, around that. So 60 or 600 is still good percentage for you of profit that you can make for the year. And I just gave you guys a little small number, little small number. Let's say you're making $100 every trade, right? Every trade over 5 days, and then over 4 weeks, which is a month. You're making $2,000 a month times 12 months. That's 24,000 that you could make in a couple minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, depending, how fast you are. And this is very, I just put the line very, very low, $100 is nothing, you would want to make more than that per day. But for those who are starting, $100 is pretty good. Now, how can you make $100 in the stock market? Well, you got to have a certain amount of money to trade. to make that $100 per day. And so I think it's 10,000 or something. Let's see. 10,000 divided by 0.05%. Fuck, man. 10,000 times 5%. My math is sucking right now. I'm supposed to know this shit. Times 5. Times 5% equals 500. So with 10,000, making 5% a day, you can make 500. That's now 10,000 is hard for like people that are getting, that are working paycheck to paycheck, and stuff like that, depending on the state you're in. If you're alone, if you're not married, you could save that over a year span. Well, less than a year, you can make you could save $10,000. If you don't have a lot of responsibilities. But if you have a lot of responsibilities, then you have to, you could trade with a little bit less than that. Let's say let's check 5,000. 5,000 times 5%. That's 250. So 5,000, you could make about 250 every day with 5,000. But you have to stick to those rules. And you could even go less than that. Less than that would be 2,500. Or 2,000. So 2,500. I just wanna show you guys a little number that you guys could do like 100. If you guys can make $50 to $100 a day consistently over a period of time, in the year, then that right there would be a nice vacation money that you guys could be making, or investment money that you guys could be making as well. That's $125. So it's pretty good, 2,000. So 2,000 ish will make you about, if you trade every day with 2,000, you could be making like $100 a day, or $50 to $100 a day. That's still pretty good, just for you to start off. Some people have a hard time to get like 2,000. I mean, you could start off with less than that. I've seen people starting with less than that. But you're not gonna earn a lot. If you're starting with like $100, $200, or 300, you're not gonna make a lot. You probably make like a couple, like $10 or something, depending on how much you're getting every month and stuff like that. So, well, not every month, every trade. So everything depends. You just gotta know your numbers, know how much you want to get. And if you have the type of money to trade, if you have big cash that you want to trade, then that's the type of calculations you have to do. Find your numbers, find what you feel comfortable. And the $2,000, I mean, you have, you know there's a possible chance to lose it. If you don't know what you're doing, you could lose that money in one day if you don't know what you're doing. That's why you have to be careful what you're doing. You have to know how to trade. And I cannot advise you on none of that. I cannot advise you on how much you should, trade, where to trade, and all that stuff. That's already financial advice. I'm just this right here is a little example on at least how much you could be making, and how to calculate, how to kind of like put together how much you should be, looking at, when you're getting profit, at the end of the day, from the stocks that you're trading. So if you could make 100 to 125, or even $50 per day, that's pretty good as a start off. If you're getting $50 per trade, which is only 15, 20 minutes, for the trade, then that's pretty good. Every month, you make those calculations for the month and for the year and see what fits you. And if that's okay, then that money, you definitely have to pay taxes on that. So you probably end up getting like a little bit more than half of that. Uh, but then you could reinvest either to trade for the next year or to use that for your vacation or whatever, and then start off the next year with something new, with more money or with money that you have saved up or something. But that's it's all, at the end of the day, it's totally on you. Sergeant Wilkie, appreciate it to come by. Thank you for showing up and showing some support. Thank you so much. And so yeah, this right here, I was just doing a little calculation here of I was having a hard time trying to find the fucking number. Maybe I was pressing the wrong button. I was like, wait a minute, I'm pressing the 5%, and I'm like, what the hell? Why is showing here 00, like 3 zeros? And I'm like, oh my god! Like normally on my phone when I do the calculations, I'm like, okay, it shows perfect, but over here it doesn't want to show me correctly. Maybe I'm pressing it too soft or what. But finally I found out I had to press it a little bit harder than to show the number. But um yeah, this calculation, I mean, you have to find out your number. What's your number? The one way also to do, another thing to do before I jump into the rest of the stocks that we're gonna check. Another thing to do is see what your expenses, calculate your expenses and see what you got going on, what you pay on a month. I mean, which you already know that, that's why you work and you pay your bills and everything. I mean, if you didn't know your expenses, then I don't know what the hell you're doing. So you have to exactly know your expenses, but you list those out and say, okay, wait a minute. If I trade this amount of money, right, and I'm getting this amount of profit, can I cover my expenses with this money? And if you could do that, then I mean, you don't use that money to cover the expenses, but you try to double it so you can have some, at least, leeway enough to cover those expenses. And at some point in the future, if you're taking this as a career, or at least doing it to the point where you could retire, then that's one way to look at things. See where your expenses is at. And if what you're making in trading, stock trading, is covering your expenses, then you can either keep your job and keep saving more money to make more money in the stock market, up to the point where you don't have to work anymore. You could probably put your and I'm not even gonna get there because that's already financial advice. But you could invest your money elsewhere where you could be making more extra money and stuff like that. But that's totally your decision. This is no First of all, this is no financial advice. But yeah, so let's go ahead and move on to the next stocks. And so let's go ahead and check that really quick. So we were talking about AMTS. You would have made some little profit here. And so that was a pretty good move. It did hold the VWAP, and it closed pretty strong. So the next level right here that it has to break out is this today higher day level here. Once it breaks out this level, then it could definitely test these highs of 1167. So I would want to watch this one. So MNTS. MNTS. And so thank you guys for showing up, showing some support. Hit the like, share, and follow if you're new as well. And repost the stream. And so this one has a good price still, right? The volume is little low volume, but okay. Float, low float. Had recent news, right? Let me see. I don't want to confuse this with another one. So it had a reverse stock split. That was some type of recent news. Let me see over here. I don't want to confuse this one with the MRNO or the AZI. So January was the last time it had a news. So it doesn't have no news. Just to confirm. No recent news. And so on daily chart, we'll check the daily really quick. Not great, but it does have some history of running here and there. See these spikes here. It had a couple splits here. That's why you see the 2,000, 10,000, all these crazy numbers up here. Don't freak out. So that means there was some stock split here. And if you want to know the definitions of stock splits, I mean, you got Investopedia, YouTube, all that. And if you really asking me about that, I'll definitely give you the information to help you with that. I have no issue with that. I won't get bothered if you ask. That's why we're here to help the community, to help everyone that's trying to trade and everything. And don't be scared I don't bite. So yeah. So we got that right there. This was not a significant move here. So but I don't like to see the candles too close together like this. It's consolidating in those areas. And so had a green day, which is this first green candle is considered a first green day. Oh, you guys can't see it. Oh my god. Let me take there you go. Now you guys can see it. So it's showing there a first green day on the green candle. And so that's a good thing to watch. We will want to see a second green day and test these highs of days. That's kind of the plan that we're gonna check. So plan. Oh, did I press has history running? Yes. Has history of running. Plan would be for it to test high of day at, go to the 5 minute, 1060. 1060, and the next one is 1167. 1060 and 1167 being the strongest. So we got that. There we go. And so we got that done with this one. Is I like the move here, even though it has all this history here, but it still has some life in it. So we'll see that one. Now these stocks right here, as we go down, are very low volume. I'm gonna pass by these really fast. On Noma, let's check Noma. See, Noma failed to hold the VWAP, so it's out of the list. Next, BNZI. Not much activity in pre-market. Not much activity after our near the close and after hours as well. It did have some moves here in the morning, but it couldn't hold the VWAP. It was struggling to hold above the VWAP. So this one is out of the list, and plus it has a really small volume. So not interested. So the next one is RNAZ. RNAZ. RNZA or NZ? What? AZ. I'm tripping. AZ. So this one also failed to hold above VWAP, so it's out of the list. ONEG. That sounds wrong. I, I will never say that again. ONEG. 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 So this one failed terribly. Above VWAP. No, well, it didn't fail terribly, but I mean, it doesn't have no activity. I don't want to trade a stock that doesn't have no activity at all. Period. So this one is out of the list. Rhyme. So Rhyme, okay. So no activity here. Only these little bit of flashes here at the open and at near the close. However, this is what I like to see right here. This trend right here. So it says here, announces major semi-cap contract expansion with Apollo tires. Okay, so it does have a contract news, which is good. It's good to know. And they show that news today. I don't know what time it was. Today at 9 in the morning. Algorithm Holdings announces major semi-cap contract expansion. So it's a contract news. So that's good. Good news. That's why it's spiking right now. Break out these levels of resistance, which was this right here, this point. You see the confirmation pullback. So that will be the line right here of resistance. And so it went up, it's extended compared to the VWAP. What I like to see is another test of the support level, and another move higher. So pre-market, we might see that happen. We'll keep this on watch. Rhyme. Only for analysis only, because very low volume. Unless it picks up a lot of volume and people are actively trading it, then that's what we want to see. So good price, low volume. Let's see the float. Low float. Had contract news today. Let's see the daily chart. So the daily chart is showing me first green day, which is great. I like to see first green day. It's not a multi-week, multi-month, or multi-year breakout. However, it's the first green day and it has good news. It might turn around on these the next breakout level of this is this one right here. Well, actually this one is the breakout, the strongest one. So if it breaks out tomorrow, these levels right here has a possibility to test 207. So very interested to see this stock make some moves tomorrow. So hopefully some volume could pick up and everything, and people could watch this more, So we'll see. We'll see. So check the 5-minute. And so yeah. Let's see. So daily. Oh, I forgot my rule. So overall it's terrible, but it has some history of running still. Daily chart. Terrible. It has history of running. Plan would be to wait and bounce off support and then test high of day at Right now, since it's still running on after hours, it's gonna eventually close 5, 6. I think it's like 6 o'clock Eastern time or 7. But at 8 o'clock, it closes completely, so it stops. The stock stops moving at 8 o'clock. So this one is gonna continue to run. So you guys gotta have to pay attention to this one. If you guys want to like analyze, not to trade. Not I'm not saying go buy. It's only to analyze. Right now the I wouldn't dare to touch this after hours. Especially at 2 million volume. So will only be good to analyze. This will be quote unquote like the high of day. This one is the support level here. So if it breaks 160, 160, and test 207, 207, 207. There you go. And so that will be good. And so we got that going on. Hold on a second, guys. All right, guys. Sorry about that. So we're gonna continue. We're gonna continue now with the rest of the stocks that we have, which is NXTT. So NXTT. And so NXTT has some pretty good move here at the beginning. Interesting. Well, let's mark at the open actually. 85% move. That's pretty good. However, it didn't have no confirmation pullback that I could prepare for. Only here, and so the breakout level would have been right here, the resistance level, as well. And so it failed. Once it cracked, it never looked back up and maintained below the VWAP, very extended. So this one is a dead stock. So that was pretty much it with the list. These are the stocks for today. We got AZI, MRNO, MNTS, and Rhyme. Usually you only pick up one stock or two stocks to trade for the day. But we'll analyze all these tomorrow. JSE is only an analyze, and BNAA is also for analysis. And so I'm gonna post these on Discord as well, so you guys could pay attention to that. Okay. And so we'll pay attention to that. Sorry again, guys. Just my wife was telling me that she was leaving really quick, and so just giving me a heads up. And so so we got here this price. Oh my gosh, I forgot my train of thought. And so yeah, this is pretty much it for the stocks. We're gonna go ahead and move to the crypto. These are gonna be posted on Discord, and that's pretty much it. So this is the Discord list right here, and I'm gonna show you guys how to filter out on the crypto coin market cap website. So let's take FinViz off here, all this, and I will keep only the trading view because that's what we're gonna use to check the crypto. So before we filter anything, we're gonna look at the results of the crypto that we mentioned, that we put together yesterday. So Pandu, we had said keep watching. for the bounce off support and test highs of days. Low volume, has high supply, which is not good. No news. Also, keep on watch. Close strong today and has opportunity to test highs of Saturday. So let's check Pandu really quick. Pandu. Hmm. This one right here. So Pandu. I don't see crypto. Crypto. There you go. I was like, wait a minute, I'm not watching the right stuff here. So just like I said, it got below this level here, and it never looked back up. It never tested these highs again. You know, and so the only way we would see some type of turnaround if we go ahead and mark the trend line right here of the highs of these multiple days. It's the only way we could check, not completely confirm, but would help us understand a little bit the trend. So let's mark that up here. Boom. And mark this at the next high. So these are the levels, right? As you can see here, it looks like a cross. You might be saying, "What the hell is this?" But these are kind of like the levels that you could, eventually you get to know what I'm doing here. But I determine these levels to understand whether the stock is gonna turn around, or everything depends on what the sellers are where the sellers are posted at the end of the day for this type of move. Right now this is a resistance, a diagonal resistance, which is more of a declining resistance. And this is a at this point was a support. This was a uptrending support, but it became a resistance, uptrending resistance, when it broke these support levels here. This line became resistance. So right now this is a resistance level, and this also is a resistance level. One is uptrending, one is a uptrending resistance level, and this is a declining resistance level. So those are the one ways to see it. Now on the declining resistance level, if it breaks out these levels, has a possibility to turn around and test these resistance, uptrending resistance level. So that's one way to see it. Eventually you get to figure everything out along the way, on your journey. It's gonna take a little time, but this is kind of the way that I put everything together. um you don't have to trade based on this or based on these resistance levels. You trade based on, your strategy, what works for you. If bouncing off these resistance levels works for you, then that's what you go for. If it's breakouts off these resistance levels or the horizontal resistance levels, then it's whatever works for you at the end of the day. Just showing you guys how to find them and how I would look at it. And so right here it bounced one time, probably multiple times in a small little time frame. But if it doesn't, right now it seems like it's gonna come back up again and test these resistance declining levels. And so if it breaks these levels, has the possibility to turn around in this case. So right now, this one, I'm not interested to look at. It will be interesting to see where it's going, but right now we've been watching this one for a little bit, so it's gonna get out of the list unless it shows up on the scanning tool tomorrow. So This one is getting off the list. It's not what we're looking for. So let's check Uranus. And so Uranus here had a pretty decent day today. It reclaimed these levels right here, but it failed afterwards. But you could have got it off the bounce, this time right here. If you would have got it at the bounce, you would have made a little bit of profit. The breakout, wouldn't work for me. It didn't test these higher days right here. But this line, let's keep expanding this thing right here. And this doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to. You could even create a line right here on these lows to these highs and see, if this was not happening right now, you saw this little dip and it was going up here like that, then that will be the line that you'll mark up and check and see if it's gonna turn around. Right now it's about to break these levels here of support and the main level of support here. This is the main level of support. So if it break those levels, then this stock is gonna keep going down until this main level of support to not this main one, but this is uptrending level support, which is a long-term one. So, but the main one, the strongest one, is this one right here of support, because at one point it was a resistance level, but it became a support level once it got broken. So that's one way to look at it. In this case, I won't pay attention to it. Pay attention to it. Russell. So these are the last two that we put yesterday because we found them on the list, on the filter that we did. And so it had a pretty decent moves. Let's see how it looks now. Oh wow. This was yesterday. Look at that. That was yesterday. Imagine. 122%. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. And so today it tried to break these levels right here, but it failed. There was some buyers here stacked up, and they bought it back up. They pushed that price up, so you could have made money at the bounce. And it couldn't test these highs again, so it turned back down, and it looks like it's about to break these support levels. But yesterday had a really, really good move. Really good move. Excellent. And so those are good things to watch. Sorry about that. And so let's check the other one. We're not gonna have this one on list anymore unless it shows up on the scanner. So Alpha will be the next one. Alpha. And so Alpha has this pretty nice move here, which you could have called at the bounce right here. This turnaround. And these waves are getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And when that happens, that means there's weakness coming through, and after the weakness, then there's some push, something is gonna break out, either break up, off this these support this downtrending resistance line, or it's gonna break down off these levels right here, these support levels. And it looks like it's about to do something now. And it looks like an ascending triangle here. Sorry, I'm tired. I've been studying all morning, but I'm doing this for you guys, to help you guys and to grow my channel as well, and bring more awareness on the stocks and everything. So hopefully you guys could support me to do that, help show some support and help me. So um this is the I think this is the last stock that we check here on the list. Yeah, Alpha. So it will be good to check to see if it's gonna test higher day tomorrow, well, today actually, because it's starting off a new day here. So keep watch. Let's put a new date, 1/6/26. Keep watch. Looking like it could test high of day as it failed more than 2 times. So that would be a good thing to watch. And so we're gonna go ahead and put another today's date. Oh shit, I should have never done that. Let me put back the date. So we're gonna add that and put a new date today, which is 6/26, and it's 4:25 p.m. Pacific time, which is not too late. There's been other times where I'm starting late as hell. So, but at this time we're doing it early, a little bit earlier. So let's put another date here, 26, 4:25 p.m. And so let's go ahead and start up scanning on the crypto. So you go to CoinMarketCap, you go to Google really quick, go to CoinMarketCap, and then the next thing to check here, if it doesn't show up, is the filter, and you press here on the title just in case if you can't find it. So you press here, filter, and it's gonna show you this little thing here. So you're gonna go to market cap first, right? You only want to see 1 million to 10 million. 10 million. Then the next thing to check is volume. So you want to see 1 million, 1 million to 100, 100 million. Next thing is to see the price change percentage, which is 10% to 500%. Now this is, you don't have to copy exactly what I'm doing, but this is what works for me. This is my criteria, and you will find stocks that are going up value very fast. And so right here, I like to sort out by 24-hour percentage change and from high to lowest. And so we have the first one is Kokoro in Spanish. Kokoro. Let's check the crypto one. So the crypto one is not looking perfect. Let's check. Let's check another one. Maybe this one. Wow, beautiful move. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So you would have caught it right here at this confirmation pullback. See, wait for the confirmation breakout and got in right here on this this other candle, this next candle. It went up 14%. So that right there, you would have made some profit. I mean, depending on your tolerance at the end of the day, what your plan. So let's check how much it went up. Today it went up 213%. Incredible. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And so those are the lines right there. This one is another confirmation pullback with the high resistance level, and this is another one too. So you could have made money these two ways that it went. You could have made some money. And so right now it went below the resistance line, and it seems like it's about to test these support levels back down. So it already did its move. It gave back half of its gains, and so right now we don't know if it's gonna turn around and test these highs. But we'll keep a watch on it. Kokoro is the first one we'll have on list. I wanna see the results of it. So Kokoro, watch. Well, results of today move. So Cocoa is the first one. So next one, and we'll it doesn't have much, but still I'll probably we'll do all these and check if rice will be the next one. So rice here had a pretty decent move. It seems like it want to keep going up. The breakout at the highest point, the resistance level is right here at the highest point, not at this point. And so it seemed like it tried to test on these areas. Sorry, but failed miserably. And so the next thing was this. It bounced off here. I would love to see this have a VWAP line, but it doesn't. But so you can still trade like this. This was a confirmation pullback. Sorry. As you can see, it didn't bounce perfectly, but it did bounce off these levels. And so that's kind of the range that it's going. So if it break these levels, then the next level would be, it has a bad daily too, would be up here. Let's see in the 5-minute. So it doesn't have, that's a pretty decent space for it to make a profit. So yeah, if it breaks out those levels, has a possibility to test these highs right here at this point. So this one will keep it on watch. Rice on watch. Looks like is about to test high of the day. And this is the date with the time, so we could know exactly what stock and time we were time frame we were looking at this. So next one is Alon. So Alon had a pretty decent move today. You could have traded right here at the confirmation pullback. You would have gotten at this candle, which is too extended. There's a gap here. I don't like trading gaps. If it would have traded, if you would have, do this, I would not trade it. So, but if you would have got in there, you would have got a little bit of profit. Anyways, it went all the way up to this point right here, which is let's see. Today it started here. It went up to 91%. See, that's the power of these crypto and stocks as well. They make these big moves. And so right now it seems like it's holding above at these levels. Now I don't like to see when the wick is this thin like this and long, so but this is the resistance line that I'm gonna mark, and is that's the range that it is right at this point. Let me see if I can find another confirmation. This is a confirmation pullback too. Boom. And so yeah, unless it's gonna go down. If it bounces off this, then it might test the higher day here. But if it continues to go up and test these higher days, then has a possibility as well to break out, or turn around. You know, it could go either way. It's unpredictable. I don't like to see this right here. We'll keep a watch for tomorrow on that one. I'm not even gonna write a comment on it. I'm just gonna put Alon only. And so the next one is Momo. You guys remember a couple years back when they were talking about this character Momo. It was an ugly freaking character. My son, I remember my son was talking to me about it when he was little, and I was like, who the hell is Momo? Is that a friend or something? Until I looked it up on the internet, and I'm like, oh hell no! Who the hell is teaching my son this? And oh man, I got so mad about that stuff. But it seems like a lot of kids were getting in trouble, uh, or having problems with that character and stuff like that. Thank God that thing went out of fashion. Hopefully, nothing similar comes around and stuff like that. That thing is scary, especially for the kids and stuff like that. Um, um, you know, but yeah, that kind of what this name remind me of that little scene. So Momo, let's check Momo here on the crypto. So it had a bunch of green days here, and it's right now is way extended. It has to pull back, but you would have had opportunities. I mean, if you don't mark here this high day right here, the previous day, then you wouldn't make some money here. You would have had to wait for a bounce. You would have lost a little bit of money here on this point. But it did, you had opportunities to buy at the bounce, and stuff like that. But yeah, this is a pretty interesting chart to learn from. That's why it's always good to learn the Japanese candlesticks, because based on certain patterns and everything, you could tell exactly where this stock is going to. And if you combine it with the level 3 and level 4 and know where the buyer's at, pushing the price up, then that would be a great help too, for you to make some profit. So this was a good one too, and it closed strong. Not sure if it's gonna continue to do that. Let's see if it's a first green day on the daily. Wow, look at that. All these green days. Yeah, this one is untradeable at this point. Well, for me it's untradeable. I won't trade it like this. I don't trade stocks like that. It has to be at least a first, second green day, but I mean, it's been running for multiple days. Multiple days. It has to cool off for a minute before it makes another move. And it show history of running here. So pretty interesting to see. Um we'll keep this on watch for just to show you guys on how the result of everything and what I said, so you guys could study that as well. So that would be a good thing to see. What's next? What else I got? Swap. Another excellent move here. This is a stagnant chart here for these couple weeks, but it did have some pretty good move here. But it's still consolidating like this. I don't like to see that. Trading volume is 9, supply is 100 million. So the difference between that and that, there's more supply than the demand. So that's why, in some way you see here not much fluctuation going on. Let's see the daily chart. Yeah, overall trend no good. It does have a little bit of days, of trading and everything, of running, but not significant enough. This is the next resistance line, just to go by, so I could go to the 5-minute. And the breakout level would be right here, the first one. Oh my God, what I did. There you go. So it tried to test the higher day once, and it failed. But since it had this type of fluctuation, it's not good to trade right now. Not good. I would want to see something like that, but also pulling down, pulling back or going back up again the same way, these same ranges like this, or shorter. It could be even shorter, but you could see it clearly. You could see these candles clear. We don't want to see. You don't want to see this in the chart. This sideways price right here, horizontal. You don't want to see that in the stock. You want to see a fluctuation. Kind of when you go to the hospital and see the heart monitor, that's the kind of fluctuation you're trying to like wait for the stock to look like. So this one is out of the list. Let's go to the next one. So that was swap. STUPID. I'm not even gonna say the full name. But that one, let's go ahead and check. So it had a pretty interesting move, and it has a VWAP, which is good. It had a confirmation pullback at this point. I think it would. I would have wanted to grab this one, but it didn't do anything the rest of the day. It was too extended, so it had to pull back, and it will pull back near the VWAP. Now tomorrow, if it holds above VWAP and it starts to run, it's gonna test again the higher day and possibly break out these lines right here. And so if we look at the daily, the next higher day, the next resistance level is gonna be this one right here, and this top one is the strongest one right here. So let's check this 5 minutes to see how close we are. So we're not that close. That's why it's not too significant. But once it gets to break out those two levels, then sky is the limit, and it might test these highs right here. So we'll take this one. We'll take a look at this one's interesting. And so next thing, did we skip block here? We did skip block. I'm tripping. Let me see. Unless I looked at it and I decided to not pursue. We didn't look at this one. So this is the type of fluctuation we want to see. We want to see some type of fluctuation, not sideways, that you cannot foretell exactly where it's going. You can't even tell the trend. It's just going. The price is going only sideways. So we'll analyze this one. It seems like it's gonna keep going up. The next resistance levels. Well, the resistance levels were these, and it seems like it's about to break out those levels. So the next confirmation, the resistance level is this one right here. So it has a little bit long way to go, but if it makes it happen, then it's good. It'll be great. And let me mark here the support level. That's somewhat of a support level. And let's see if we can find here this day confirmation pullback. It's somewhat of a confirmation pullback on that little spike right there. Boom. And so once it broke out, it just took off those levels. That's the power of studying these stocks. And so we'll take a look at block as well. See if it does exactly what we're looking at. The analysis, I mean, I could write down some of the analysis, but it's gonna take me a little bit longer, the video, and I'm already in 2 hours and 25 minutes, which is good. And so I think KO stupid is already, oh, I said I said the word STUPID. It's already under the level that I prefer, which is 20. So let's take the ST. Well, you know what? Let's leave it there. That's fine. We'll use that as an analysis. But that's pretty much it for these. We scan everything already for the crypto. That's how you find the crypto. You know, there's pretty much not too much to say about the crypto and the stocks. We already covered most of it. I am gonna share these on Discord, and I'll probably do like a little small blog tomorrow for everything that we did today on the Patreon web. And I'll probably post a link of my Patreon on the X platform so you guys could, like, click and look at it and stuff like that. But I appreciate every single one of you guys to come over here and show support. I know I took a little bit too long than normal. I'm not trying to like go through all these cryptos and stocks. It's good to analyze them, but you only need to analyze what fits your criteria, and if anything else doesn't fit your criteria, then it's out. There's plenty of stocks that show up every single day, and you don't need to focus on like all these stocks because it's the last thing in the planet. No. So this is pretty much it. Don't forget to hit the like, the share, and the follow. If you're on YouTube, hit the subscribe button, and don't forget to hit the bells on all the platforms that you're there. You'll find all the platforms that I have on the description as well, and any other information as well. You find it there. And so, also, I want to appreciate Foda, Hernandez, and Sergeant Wilkie for passing by and help with the texting, the chat, and everything. I appreciate you guys for showing up, showing support and everything. But yeah, we're done with this stream. Pretty tired. I'll probably go to sleep after this, or probably play something. Depend. On the weekend, I'm gonna start with the Lego Star Wars, so I'm pretty excited about that one. I was setting up my hard drive and everything, see if I could, occupy enough space to download that one. And so yeah, we're pretty much done. I appreciate you guys sticking by the 2 hours and stuff like that. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Have a good night, and bye, guys. All right.